So, the individual, standing there in his suit with his top hat and cane, said, "Given the circumstance, we find ourselves at an interesting crossroads. In order to pay off his debt for the Tier 3 ship that we gave him, we had some heavy asks to make of Captain Friedmont Dairdman, some of which were simply some dangerous fetch quests. Basically nothing more than gathering some things that we need. But his primary objective was, let's just say, far more integral to our plans, and thus next to inexpensive. It is a job that we need done, the danger of which is exceptionally high. We have a great deal of vested interest, not only Captain Friedmont, but many other people who owe us great debts, all being called in for this single task. We cannot afford to pull Captain Friedmont from it, or lead you to him, if it means that you'll do away with him, and our task will go uncompleted. But it really all depends on how you look at it," the man said, beginning to stroll his way down the steps from his throne, spinning his cane a bit. "However, we under no circumstance promised Captain Friedman any form of protection, nor to keep his location secret from enemies, which is of course the doorway which will allow me to make a deal with you, something that could prove immensely profitable to us. So, here's the deal. It's a chancy one, lots of risk involved. However, if you play your cards right, it'll be exactly what you need. Captain Friedmont is no doubt fulfilling the first ends of his arrangement with us, fetching the goods that we requested of him, after which he'll return here in order to deliver those goods before shipping out for the next stage of his journey, the most hazardous segment of his request. There's a planet a ways from here, probably about 2 weeks of travel, maybe 3, depending on how fast your ship is. This planet has come under a great deal of conflict. You see, the planet is ripe with resources. While the planet itself may be uninhabitable, it's overflowing with Mayron crystal, one of the most valuable resources in the entire universe. Claiming ownership of the planet would yield us profits beyond imagination. However, therein lies our problem. Around the same time that we took notice of this valuable asset, so too did the Black Pathos. It's a criminal organization comprised entirely of pirates. They are in fact the largest pirate organization in the sector, and just as we have countless branches, so too do they possess many assets, which they are levying in great extent in order to claim possession of this planet. We've attempted to negotiate with them, of course, stated clearly that we were the first ones to find it. However, they seem sure that they have more than enough to outgun us, take the planet, regardless of who found it first. And so, war seems to be the only option. To this end, we are sending a smattering of ships to that location, including Captain Friedmont. Here's the game. Captain Friedmont will be one of the ships, helping lead the assault against the enemy forces. We cannot afford to pull him from this. His ship is too valuable an asset. Tier 3 ships don't rain from the sky, you know. But once it's all said and done, and we've claimed possession of the planet, the ship and its captain will be the least of our concerns. While normally it might be considered hazardous to make a cross deal here, especially not knowing whether you're capable of taking down a Tier 3 ship, I have a sneaking suspicion that you can muster it. So, the deal, as plain and dry as I can make it, is that you will take your ship and accompany Captain Friedmont Dareman, work alongside him, ensure that we claim victory and possession of the planet, along with the other ships and captains that we've sent. And once the planet is taken, then you can have Friedmont Dareman do whatever you wish. Kill him and take the ship as your own, destroy the ship altogether. We don't really care, so long as our ends are met. But you are, of course, under no circumstances to attack Friedmont Dareman before that occurs. Of course, once it's all over, as part of our agreement, I'll send a message out to the other crews, the other captains owing us favors, and ensure that there'll be no interference. It'll be you versus him. Whoever wins, wins. We don't particularly care. But the playing field will be even. If you attempt to attack Captain Friedmont, wait around for him until he gets back. Then the Brotherhood will mark you as an enemy, and we will counterattack on his behalf. Protect our investment, as it were. So before the conflict breaks out, and we have what we want, Friedmont will be under our protection. We do have to ensure our investment, you know. So, tell me, Captain Mika, can you live with these terms? Are they acceptable to you? He said, leering down as he stopped spinning his cane, tapping it firmly against the ground as he stared down the remaining steps to Mika. That won't work. Friedmont knows exactly what I look like, what I sound like. I'm very familiar to him. I did, in fact, try to kill him just a short time ago. I'm not going to be able to carry out an entire battle with him. He'll know it's me. No, I'm sure you can find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, they always say. If you pardon the rhyme. However, that's none of our concern. That's the best deal you're going to get. It's your only opening, your only avenue for getting what it is that you desire. Which I assume is Captain Friedmont's head, yes. He did speak of a woman, an Oki, who killed him and stole his ship, or at least tried to kill him, not realizing that he could survive in the vacuum of space, even if it was in a form of cryogenic suspension. I assume that was you. Your desire for vengeance is not our concern. We have offered you an opportunity to get what you want at a cost. The cost is reasonable, considering the investment that we've placed into Mr. Friedmont. Now, are you going to accept it? Or is our business here concluded? Mika stood there, gripping her fists tightly, almost gritting her teeth a bit, as she stared up at the head of the Church of the Dealer, a sly grin on his face. Fine, Mika said angrily. You've got a deal. I help you with your war effort, and after all is said and done, I get Friedmont. Well, I'm happy to hear that you're willing to accept our little arrangement. But no deal's complete until we shake on it, he said, strolling down the steps towards Mika and extending his hand. So, a bargain struck, a deal to be upheld, he said as Mika extended her hand, clasping his as they shook firmly. Glad to have you on board, Captain Mika. Based on our current trajectory and estimates for the war efforts and Captain Friedmont's activities, he'll be returning here in about a week. You have until that time to prepare yourself. We're willing to help you stock your ship with anything that you might need for the war effort. As far as finding a way to slip by Captain Friedmont's ability to recognize you, that will be up to you. But as I said, where there's a will, there's a way. As we don't sense any ships in orbit, I'm assuming that you're keeping your vessel somewhere farther away. You'll bring it closer, allow us to scan it and add it to our registry. We'll, of course, give you the allowance of including you upon the registry under a false identity. If there's anything you'd like to do to alter the way that you're going to be perceived, I'd suggest you do it within the next week, before Friedmont gets here and we can no longer alter it. We'll have no choice but to send you out, he said as he released Mika's hand. Brother Noxus, please give Captain Mika the coordinates for the war efforts. She'll be needing them, as well as the communication signal for contacting us. We'll need to stay in touch, he said as he began to step away from Mika. It's been lovely dealing with you, but it appears that our business is at an end for the moment. Best of luck hunting, Captain, he said, tipping his hat a bit as he walked back up the stairs, sitting back down on his exorbitantly large throne, as a few other individuals approached, handing Mika data pads with information on them. And just like that, the game was set.